Hello, welcome to TFTV3. Lots of games going on today, and we just have about enough people to do all of the games in Premiership. Today, on this channel, we will be covering Ora Elektro against the Bin Black, previously also known as TTD, coming into the week 3 match on CP Galleywash and CP Cardinal. I am here joined on production by Wiethoofd, and with me on the mic is Georgebaii.
Hello.
Should be a fun little game. Both teams, I rate them relatively evenly at the moment. Both of them seem to be improving at a similar rate, in my opinion, and this will surely separate them in terms of who's doing better or not. Because I am not sure at all who will be doing that much better. What's your take?
I think for both teams there's a good chance to get some more points onto the board. I think Ora Elektro are the best place to probably get at least a map of this team. They're struggling. They've been struggling at the moment recently. I think because there's some pretty tough fixtures with like 7 and like playing with. I think the main team for the Bin as well. They've been like only managing to salvage a single point out of those games. So it'll be their first real test, I think, out of like trying to get some more points. And for the Bin Black, they'll be looking to try and extend their points record, try and get more of a chance for playoffs. They've already got 6 points out of their last win against Velocity EU with a very convincing game against them. I think only losing a single round across both maps.
Yeah, it should be pretty close. I have seen a little bit beforehand in terms of scrims, and you can only value them so much, but it gives you a general idea of how much teams have an idea on each map. And it looked definitely better for Ora Elektro on Cardinal, the new map here, and it did for the Bin Black, who seem to have struggled a little bit more with it. So I think that will be much better for Ora Elektro than for the Bin Black. Or Galleywash, I am much less certain how that will go. It's a much more stable map, so everybody has a little bit more of an idea how to play that, and that will be interesting. And speaking of the Bin Black here as well, let's head over to the roster, because there has been a little bit of a shake-up, maybe not in terms of who is playing, but who is playing what. Alright, rosters should be up, and you can see everybody that is playing for Bin Black. And the big mix-up here today, starting at some point last week they've done it, is swapping Gink and Groove between their roles, which means Gink is now the roamer and Groove will be the pocket scout going forward. And that is interesting. They mentioned some interest in swapping around things the last time I casted them against 7. They mentioned that post-game a little bit, that they weren't sure about the scout roles and stuff like that. And looks like they found a way to address that issue a little bit. So that is what they found as a solution. I'm looking forward to it. It should be interesting. Obviously, the stats on screen for those two specifically will be not quite reflective of how they're going to perform in that specific role. But for everybody else, it's mostly the same. And I see some big numbers for Lucas Ford in terms of kills, second in terms of damage. That is something to look out for. He has some stuff going for him for sure. And overall, they're improving pretty nicely, in my opinion.
Yeah, indeed. Like a very solid numbers throughout the team. I think they're going to be probably one of the top contenders. I think for the playoff spots. They're going to be 4 of them, of course. And yeah, like you said, it was interesting seeing Groove and Gink swap roles, because normally I associate Groove as more of a soldier player in like his previous history, and I think Gink is like more comfortable on the soldier role himself. Like he can also switch to scout, so he's pretty versatile. So it's nice to see them switching it up to try and fix any issues they have at the moment. And yeah, like you said, big numbers for Lucas with that huge DPM, second overall in Prem. And for Yin as well, actually, achieving the top DPM for soldiers in Prem as well, which is nice to see.
It will be interesting, because they find themselves as a pretty aggressive team, a really fast one at that. That is the thing they want to like really focus on their play. Ora Elektro much different in that regard. They are more a balanced kind of team. They have a little bit of both. They can go fast if the situation requires it. They are certainly not afraid of waiting, playing slow, playing patient, and with that we can move forward to their roster as well. And yeah, they look different from last season, but if you paid a little bit attention in this scene, you remember most of these guys have played together for LAN already, and with that have prepared to go for that as well. So they go into this with quite a bit more experience than it might seem initially. With Demos, Eames, Eskimo, Never, Azunis, and SCRUFF here, all but Demos played together at LAN. Raptor stepped down, Demo stepped in after the downfall of Omni 5 stepping in as the medic, and has been doing alright at least. Certainly not sticked out as something that is majorly going bad for them. And other than that, they had some tough matchups early on in the season, but they have been not doing too bad in those. And of a lot of the teams that I've seen play 7, they are the ones that are doing decent, to say the least. They're not really winning against 7 to say, but they are definitely able to put some stops to whatever 7 is trying to throw at them.
Yeah, of course. 7, the big dog to go after in this scene, really. Undisputed kings of Europe, and every team wants to have a crack at them, try and get some points on them, but may even beat them in the playoffs or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that.
All right, let's head into some head-to-head matchups just to see how they're doing, and I'm interested to see some scouts, flank scouts specifically, since those stayed the same, and see how that goes. And that would be, I think, SCRUFF, and on Ora Elektro, I'm actually not 100% sure, I'm pretty sure it's SCRUFF anyway, and Hems on the other side. And let's see some head-to-head comparisons there. We have SCRUFF versus Groove. Okay, let's just look at this quickly. There's not too much to get out of this for mostly just SCRUFF, more so than Groove, obviously. It's from the last 2 officials, so 4 maps in total are gonna get considered here for those stats. And I mean, Groove's stats are obviously looking mighty different just because he played Solly before, so that is to be kept in mind here quite a bit.
Yeah, big depth for Solly's, of course, in general throughout this game. And looking at his head up between Nevo and Hems right now, it seems like Hems is a bit more of the aggressive scout, going for more to clean up frags and some general damage as well. But Nevo's probably one of those more conservative scouts, looks to play a bit more closer to their medic, just generally take a lot more heals and just play that support role that's normally needed in any team. So it's quite interesting to see.
I mentioned this well, they're playing patient. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
The difference in the heals per minute as well, slightly. On Nevo, so definitely playing more of that support role for his team.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, Ora Elektro are willing to play patient if necessary, and Nevo is the one to go sniper usually if the situation requires it quite a bit. They went as far as often just running him back to spawn and spam it on, let's say, second, instead of just sacking him in like most people would in situations like that, and then have him spawn. They just walk him back, come back on sniper, have the people on the other side be surprised by it, if possible. Alright, moving over to some more numbers here. We'll have Azunis and King. Obviously King, once again with the Solly, not having Roma stats quite yet, but going into the next few weeks, those numbers will possibly change, maybe to match on of Azunis a little bit more. He's the one to do dirty work for them a lot in stalemates as well. He's the one hacking in. He will be the one dying a lot at a result of that, and it kind of flex as well. Like I mentioned, a little bit uneven just because of the class switch, but even then, his stats suffer from his role in the team is necessary to be set here, I think.
Yeah, but even with that, I have to say some solid numbers coming out from Ging there. I don't know if that was fed by the scout roles, but he's first out of all players for his KD ratio in general.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice that.
Which he allows him. It definitely shows that his aggressive playstyle is really paying off for his team. He's managed to get a bit more reward for it. Azunis is again probably playing a bit more conservative role, even with the shift in heals.
Alright, and with that, let's move on to the next little slide here we have in store, which will be demos and DEGU, both medics starting here for that team. Let's see what we have in terms of the numbers here. Let's take a better look at that. And what do we have here? I see a lot of big red bars for sure, but a more important one at least. The heals are relatively even, so they got that going for them. Ubers are significantly more for DEGUs. I don't know. Crits, no, crits is not accounted for that, so that's interesting to consider here actually. Obviously a little bit you need to know how the games actually went, but that's still an interesting difference to see. Oh. Well, not too much I can say about that. I think on week 2 there's only so much you can see. out of the stats quite yet. We're waiting for people to connect to the server. We're quite early for once, which is actually nice, especially now that stats are here, even if it's just week 2 stats. There we go, some demo numbers, always nice to look at. Obviously, personally, I'm a demo main, or well, used to be when I actually played.
But immediately, if I can see big numbers coming from Lucas.
Yeah, we mentioned it before, and he's been having some fun on the demo main class.
Indeed. I think he was like more of a scout player before, or something like that, maybe a soldier.
He is decent at everything. I think he like came to like high to Prem as a soldier, I think, Roma specifically. Switched to Demoman for Nunya last season, I think, or even the season before, and has been doing really well on for them, and surprised some people, and has become pretty highly regarded Demoman since, and his stats definitely show that outshines Eames in quite a lot of areas. And the only one where Eames has more of is depth, and that's not necessarily the one you want to have.
Not really, no. Especially in this game for Demoman, like a lot of your survivability keeps some of the area denial in general. So like seeing Lucas up there definitely delivering the goods on the damage power. And I think in terms of mentality as well, like he's a much more solid team now, because before then you had like 4 players essentially, so there weren't really a full team. And yet, even though they still made the playoff placings, they didn't have enough players to go to the playoffs, so it was probably frustrating for him. He couldn't really express himself in those finals. But now he's like really flourishing, I think, in this team.
Yeah, for sure. Will be interesting, especially with Galliwash being the map being played. It's always interesting because Demoman is a really high impact class, more so than on any other map, on Galliwash, in just about anybody's opinion, really. And that will have a huge impact who can have the better head-to-head for those when Lucas having the better end so far could be interesting going into this match.
So yeah, just in general, we're seeing a definite shift in frags and damage for the side of the Bin Black. So generally showing their form in the season so far for these like 2 weeks we've had. Ora Elektro probably have been struggling to get going against these much stronger teams. I mean, the Bin and Seven are like generally not to be underestimated, so they've really been struggling to like try and show the true form. But this should be a good chance to do it against Bin Black. I think this will be the best chance for some more points. Maybe. Yeah,
personally, I think this is like really, really important points for them, just because it's a potentially really close matchup, and this is just points you can't afford to lose going forward if you want to have a chance at playoffs. So this might as well be like deciding it really early on if somebody can get like a really convincing performance over the other and get like 6 points, maybe even 5 just like a lot more points than you would expect of this, because with close games you'd expect a 3-3 split maybe, but that's not how it always works.
Indeed it is, but we do have 12 gamers right now in Mumble, and I'm hearing the countdown, so that must mean we're going live for this match.
No, we got a Georgebaii once again, as per usual here, but everybody here, let's get some predictions going for Galliwash, the first map of the series here today.
I'm going to say it's going to be a close scoreline. I'm going to say maybe Ora Elektro might edge it out, perhaps maybe even in the Golden Cap, on the basis that this is the more traditional map they're probably looking to focus on. But then again, they may be looking to try and convert that form into Cardinal, which is probably a bit more unfamiliar for the side of the Bin Black.
Well, I'm looking forward to some interesting aggressive stuff coming out of Bin Black and see if they can make it work against Ora Elektro. I say it will also be close here, more so than it will be on Cardinal. I say this is going to be a 4-2 scoreline to the Bin Black.
4-2. I'm going to say 4-3. Make it a bit closer.
Alright. Interesting. And with that, we got word. And it's only a matter of seconds now before this game will be going live. And I'm really interested to see how this happens. I mentioned it like a few times already. The Ora Elektro likes to slow things down if it like advances their game state in any way, if they can stabilize and slow things down, get stuff done with the other team waiting. Bin Black likes to play aggressive, so I'm really curious to see how this will match up against each other. And we will be seeing right now, as we're starting with ETF2L Week 3 on Season 30, sponsored by SCRUFF Trading and SCRUFF.tv, providing our lovely prize pool. And with that, heading into Map 1, CP Galliwash.
Yeah, look at this build. Eames was already taken down with no help from the early sticky death of Lucas, but he's going to have to back off right now. And the rest of the Bin Black looking to move up to his right hand. Eames going to get the first back to Lucas. SCRUFF is in his own fight with his own. But the soldiers there, I think, Ging. And now Demo's isolated in the fight with the scout now, trying to escape. He's trying to get the arrows out onto Hems. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but the save from Nevo's going to keep him alive. So it's still going to be a medic up for the side of Ora Elektro, but it looks like it might be a mid-win for the side of the bin black.
And Zunis is kind of stuck there, weird kind of mid. Bin black wanted to take enemy side aggressively early. They had some troubles getting got the people up on the high ground and isolated individual players, and Ora Elektro nicely able to make it work as soon as eventually left alone dies late into all of this. And without Demos dying, it's a little bit worse coming to this, but not possible for them. They think popping in through the choke point, trying to get his next change, maybe get Yillen behind, which is a pretty common thing to see nowadays. But Yillen gets denied with that, couldn't get flashed far enough, will be taken down, and I assume that was Bin Black's initial idea here to make stuff happen, and it got denied pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we're going to see this general stalemate right now onto the second point. Lucas trying to just pipe up the SCRUFF to get knocked down to the HP. This could be bad. Bobbin actually on the side of Olga, I think, trying to get into the medic, but he's going to get taken by Groove. That's going to be sludged down on the side of Ora Elektro.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention yet as well, but Olga working today as well, working like for every team now this season teams. This time it will be instead of Eskimo being here, and I'd be interested to see how this affects Ora Elektro. I don't know who's main Eames and Eskimo are capable of it. Right now you would hope it's Eames and Eskimo not being here, and right now as well Eames having to rotate over a little bit, keeping Victor in check. Hem still gets through though.
We got Hems at her backline's edge, but gets picked up by Nevo, so another player down for the side of the Bin Black, so probably looking to try and take some more advantage out of this Ora Elektro. Maybe even commit Olga in again for another bomb. And they're either going to do that right now. He's coming to drop down. Probably trying to get some sort of low count on the medic, but he's going to be pulled out immediately by Groove. Probably forced it back off here as like the stickies come in with Lucas. He just about makes it out there for that 60 HP. And now you don't think of the counter pop here. Coming in, Uber's pops in onto the Demos, deserves a rocket round. It's going to build this very, very well actually. It's going to be good there for the slot of Ora Elektro. We're trying to take
DEGU gets caught.
DEGU gets caught out in the spam as well, so there's a medic down for the side of the Bin Black, and now Ora Elektro looking to try and take advantage of this. King trying to side something for his team right now with the fights, but as soon as he's going to take down Yillen, that's going to be two players down for the side of the Bin Black as Ora Elektro looks to try and push forwards.
Yeah, Ora Elektro's patience getting rewarded nicely. Bin Black just tries to force the Uber exchange and get some sort of advantage out of them, but Ora Elektro not letting anything happen there. Patient as well to keep eyes on King behind, take him out before they go forward. Means spawns will up though, making it a little bit harder. He has one down instead of two on the midpoint. Heals up again as well after DEGU's left after the Uber. But they just rush forward, force them back with just early quick position. The sniper as well, just denying so much space. He went sniper during the stalemate at some point, and right now it might become a mild liability. But if they can still manage to get the second point, really, it immediately puts them in a nice spot for a potential play into last here, and they're trying to get in early, making some bait happen, and Yillen is the one taking it, swinging around the corner, hoping for the Demos pick, not getting rewarded for it. Groove forward as well, forced out with a lot of damage as soon as around the corner, nicely played there on the flank. Everybody else on Bin Black just really passive, far back, going to last, trying to set up here, but with two down, this could be sketchy still.
Yeah, I think the Bin Black were probably looking to play a bit more passive there, knowing that they had this like uber disadvantage there and the sniper presence as well. But I think Ora Elektro are looking to really not give them any space. They're going to be committing really deep into this, getting another picks. It's just free up now for the side of the Bin Black, and now the Uber's going to get popped out here just about now for the moves as they try to push in. Bin Black trying to salvage, they're trying to get some off passes, I think, and they're getting taken down, and that's a full wipe there. That's going to be the first round for Ora Elektro.
And Devil making the sniper work on the last push as well, despite all the advantages they had, where you would like to have a scout as well. But they just played this perfectly. They just had the one mistake punished really far into the last point, from all the way on mid even, and it got them this far in that they had still picks here going as well for them. Got the Uber force, and they didn't even need to back out. They just needed to wait a little bit and just had a much better run response and completely crushed them with down.
Yeah, look at the text put down. Zunis immediately knocked down to low HP with the bomb there, but he's going to be forced back right now. Eames trying to get some more general areas in, and it's the first frag, but Olga trying to get onto Hems there, but the exchange immediately comes off there for the side of the Bin Black. Groove got down to really low HP on the right side, trying to come in right now. We've got Nevo in ready deep onto Lucas, then trying to get the pick on there. Another soldier comes in with the bombs. Two picks there on both sides. Again, like clean exchange on both sides right now. Nevo's going to get caught down underneath with low HP, and now SCRUFF trying to come in on DEGU, trying to get a pick in, but he's going to be forced out into choke. And like, despite all those exchanges, it looks to be a couple of win-wins again for the Bin Black.
Yeah, they had just such a better start. The Solis were just denied really, really early on Ora Elektro. Olga went weak. Azunis went down fairly quickly, so Olga not being able to participate effectively made him lose a player for at least half the bid fight, and just gave Bid Black so much more freedom. Being able to clean up off of this gets them in a really nice position here, getting demos as well, makes second relatively free. They have a player behind to keep track of. I don't know if they're aware of that. For now it won't matter for the next 3 seconds. They just can take this completely for free without Ora Elektro able to do much about it.
Yeah, the only way Scruff will be able to do any sort of damage is maybe like coming in off the last push, but they're going to be left with 5 people on this last hole. Groove's going to take resistance, but trying to immediately get onto Demos, but he's going to be forced out as well. I'm sure Scruff is going to make it to the backlines. It's actually picking up Pens in the backlines as well, and another pick goes to Azunis down to Yellen. So it's going to be 2 picks now for Ora Elektro trying to come in. The only just comes out right now for the side of Ora Elektro with a nice pipe there for Deems taking down Groove, and that's going to be a comfortable last hole there. Just Gink the
Uber just didn't catch enough, and everybody was just comfortably staying alive. And the point didn't get pressured at all, and that's kind of what you see, honestly, when you know the enemy team is forced back in the point, including the Demo man. Eames was in spawn, not under the point, not able to get some new sticks up, and it just made it so easy for Electric to just wait this out, get their own Uber, and comfortably take it back in their own favor. Having to use Uber is technically unfortunate because they had such better position on hand, but eventually it gave them a full wipe, made it still fairly comfortable to leave last with, and even then, they still have slight advantage, maybe not much, barely 15% even, but enough to at least be sure to have first, and maybe if they're quick to make something happen with it.
Yeah, it looks like Ora Elektro not looking to give the Bid Black any space here. They're going to be looking to try and express as possible into this chokehold right now. Trying to build up their Uber right now. They're going to get him with Demos, and they're going to be pushing into this choke. They're going to have Olga lead the charge, trying to check out for any roaming soldiers that might be hiding for his team. Lucas actually sticks out on the right side to break deny any sort of jumping presence there for the side of Ora Elektro. Just pipe spam forcing them out, and that's going to be a comfortable second cap there for the side of Ora Elektro.
Yeah, and Ora Elektro might have not realized, but DEGU and Co have beefed up their building quite a bit. It started with 15%, it ended being 30 even, 40 not quite. That was a significant difference. Without that being the case, Bid Black might have had a chance to just stay there and take an exchange at best, but with just ever so slightly messing up the building process, it just mattered so much they really couldn't afford to stay there. They were just 70% and let the Uber come into them.
Yeah, so now we're going to see Ora Elektro in general like scanning period on these banks here, trying to get as much information for this last pitch as possible. We've got Scruff peeking on the right side trying to call out any positions for his team, but it might have not been called the position of the Sentry right on the left side right now. So this might catch him out if they decide to push in. We're going to see quite a bit of a deep committal here from Pink trying to get him about Pink, but it's going to take a pipe from Eames for his efforts. So just a general scanning period, trying to look for any sort of opening or maybe a potential frag opportunity. We've got Groove peeking into River. He's going to be forced back eventually. Olga actually going to get a pick onto Yellen, and that's going to provide the opening they need for this team. I think they're going to probably trying to commit off of this right now. We've got some stickies here set up from Lucas to deny any sort of shot push. So again, Ora just seemed a bit tentative to try and push up on this.
Yeah, they are a team that wants to have solid stuff going into the last point, and so far they want the advantage, and everybody's so distracted. As soon as gets hit for free, followed up by Eames gets the drop. That was what they're waiting for. Now they're comfortable walking in the attacking space, popping over, getting Yellen. Groove on fire, wants to block, doesn't matter, gets taken out quickly. On the point, deals so much damage to Gink, and there we go. To our Elektro, and their patience paid off. You were questioning why they waited, and they gave you a quick response. We don't want a pick, we want the sentry down to have Solly fly in for free, get the medic, while everybody's forward on the shutter doors, distracted by basically everything else. And that was not only, I think they also already had Never be under the point, being at least annoying, and without sticks on the point as well, they had to commit another player to that, so really nicely done.
Yeah, we immediately got Dean for a huge jump in on the right side. Lucas saw it, was like a pogo with the pole there, but he's going to be under anything from that right now. Yellen's going to be the first casualty of this bit, as Gink's going to try and what's happening on the back lines for the side of Ora Elektro, trying to get some rockets with the Demos, but he's just not getting anything right now. He's going to get focused down by the scouts and dies for his efforts. It's just going to be Lucas alive in there, and he's going to be cleaned up very quickly. So that's a very comfortable mid-win there, again for Ora Elektro. It's trying to snowball this to like try and get these points.
Yeah, really nicely done. As soon as just immediately with a quick play, got a trade, made Olga have much more freedom jumping in, dealt a lot of damage to the medic, which forced Lucas to just look back, have to deal with it. And up front, everybody in Ora Elektro just constantly moved forward over whoever was left there and had no help from anybody else, and just completely overwhelmed them.
Now we've got this power denial here from Pens trying to deny most of the movement, which he does successfully actually. Red actually held them up there quite a while, and that's going to be costing most of their Uber. So it's now going to be the center of him back from the Uber advantage right now on this last hold. The rest of the Ora Elektro probably looking to play a bit more conservatively in light of this. Maybe try and commit their soldiers in for like a surprise bomb. Perhaps if the Bin Black are looking to commit here.
Yeah, they're already forward, and Bin Black needs some momentum. They are able to just squeeze out the momentum out of Ora Elektro with the Pyro, but getting out of last is a whole another story, as it's pretty much even worse for all intents and purposes, barely taken apart by about 5 to 10%. So it is fairly tough, but it still will take a forward position, maybe hoping to catch somebody by surprise here, if anything, but Ora Elektro are careful as well, waiting patiently, getting a sniper on the field, and I mentioned before, Ora Elektro definitely more willing to play the stalemate here, and Bin Black seems to be...
We've got SCRUFF here trying to take a solo fight into Lucas, but he's going to get pipes away for his efforts, so backing off right there. It's going to be generally Ubers on both sides. We've got a sentry set up in this middle part of the point. We've got a sniper actually on the side of Ora Elektro trying to get Diva in on his flank, trying to get some sort of sneak peek into the mech perhaps, ideally. Lucas trying to peek in really deeply onto this balcony area, just trying to get the general spam in, basically pulled back eventually by the rocket spam from Ora Elektro. So again,
Eames gets a Lucas kill. That's a big one. They are more down. They already didn't commit too much on the point with them, mostly just forward, which means that, well, the point is definitely open, but that was no issue beforehand. It also means that up front there's denial lacking on the shutdoor on the balcony area, but it will be a point play by SCRUFF, trying to get some point time there, but the sentry is distracting, doesn't matter, it gets an opening for Level to get some shots, and hits 2, only kills 1, and the player on the point SCRUFF eventually taken out as well. While the Zunas died way earlier and all of this due to sentry, means that their plays have been successfully denied. 2 down isn't much, especially with 1 down, but maybe enough to get at least some sort of play in for the Bin Black, and they desperately need one as Ging is moving forward.
Yeah, the last push there seemed really questionable with the execution there. I think they knew what they were going for. They were trying to do the classic push of like go fast through river and then they get a scout underneath, but they were really tentative to try and commit that Uber in, and then we saw it as soon as they're getting cleared up by the sentry, and then the scout dying later after that. So like probably very, very hesitant to try and push in here. Maybe the nerves are starting to kick in, trying to keep this score line.
Yeah, they probably just want to really not mess anything up and just like increase the patience, maybe just a little bit too much, and not actually commit to stuff there. They just really need something confident going in, and what I see right now as well is Olga on the buff banner. He likes this thing for last. Most of her open was then smaller ones like this, but nonetheless here it is. Takes 600 damage to build, so he's probably just looking for some spam.
Huge double bomb there from Ging Kenyon, and easily done right there to pick up Devo and Azunis. That's going to be 2 kills for them. Uber's still up on both teams though, however, so they're probably going to try and commit the super fight in a second perhaps. You've got to be careful not to let any Ora Elektro players step into the backline, so they're actually going for a back camp right now. They're going to try and commit to this. SCRUFF trying to get some damage into Ging. Just General Connor in the second point trying to get some general kills. Bin Black are being forced to retreat eventually. The Uber's actually popped out on the side of Ora Elektro, so that's probably going to be them backing out right now.
He really didn't want to use that. He held on to this for so long, and everybody was so far back, but eventually he just Lucas's projectiles just caught up with him, and he just had not much of a choice. Had to use, and this is what Bin Black were looking for so much. Just one mess up on river, finally granting them a good opportunity to make stuff happen. They're coming forward here from the top area with their Uber trap and see if they can make this happen, as everybody's really far back, scared of the potential of a push coming in with Uber.
Yeah, the sticky trap, I knew that was going to be the problem right there, and then DEGU goes down. That's no Uber for them. I think it was going to be more of a distracting way to try and get the cap time and generally milk the Uber, but the sticky trap right there.
Also getting some shots, that's 2 down.
Sick headshot there as well with the Uber really picking up through. There's going to be 2 kills now for the side of Ora Elektro, and they're going to be looking to try and move up right now, trying to recap the second point and hold this, and try and swivel this into the last with their Uber of their own.
Yeah, not having to pop here is perfect. Somebody tried, I think it was Healer is the only one still being dead, still trying to make something happen on second. Not getting reward for it late. They're not too late, he will be spawning in time. But your advantage is still there, getting popped into the last point. Never dies early, but a sniper is the least of your issues right now if you're on the offense.
Yeah, so most of Ora Elektro trying to play this high ground, but the half class is going to come up beside the Bin Black. Got Groove on the heavy there picking up Eames, so that's no DuMmTm inside of Ora Elektro, and they're going to be scampering right now. Only 3 up, all in different direction with relatively low HP. Got Diva once again coming up from the side, but probably to try and repush this, and SCRUFF going down very late as well. So nice hold there from the Bin Black to try and keep up with that, despite the Diva disadvantage they had.
Yeah, Ora Elektro just not able to really establish a good position now. Bin Black just confidently staying where they were, and with that, they have an opportunity to make some space happen. Sticking a scout on the point, getting everybody else close to big door, forcing them back just with the pure presence of the Uber chart being almost there, and it is now. And they're not going to waste much time here trying to take the high ground away from Ora Elektro, forcing them back, potentially catching somebody, but everybody's really far back. Bazun is the only casualty in this, meaning Demos will have Uber of his own.
Yeah, as soon as they're getting caught out by the sudden surprise of the back phase coming in. But now the Uber's going to come out from the side of the road. They're trying to collapse into this big door area. You've got Olga there getting a nice rocket out to DEGU, so that's no heals. And he's going to probably clean up onto Yilin there, but it's going to be Eames taking up that instead. And just like generally nice focus fight here coming out from the side of Ora Elektro. All these bin players coming down. And they're going to be looking to recap this mid point.
Yeah, strong there by Ora Elektro to take out this many players. And they still have to deal with forward spawns, not able to deny many, maybe these last two here, just barely. Everybody else needs to be kept in check, and the sniper was there. That's certainly a little bit of a concern for your medic's head. That doesn't certainly come into play there, and Ora Elektro with that just easily takes back second, can move into lobby, slight advantage here. Well, usable advantage anyway. 30% is not too bad, and they are looking to make this happen, just building the last few percents, while Bin Black is just definitely trying to set up some sort of defense. They have a level 2 sentry, that's the least you want, since it has the same, at least raw hit scan firepower as the level 3 one, and group on Pyro as well. Did a lot last time with the Pyro, so let's see if we can do it again, but they avoid him completely for now.
Yeah, so the Ora Elektro once again coming into blast right now. We've got SCRUFF underneath, trying to find the demo man of Lucas and get hyped for his efforts right there. There's a little bit of high conceit there, and now Ora Elektro trying to collapse into the point, but the Uber's going to come out from the side of the Bin Black. They're going to be looking to try and force them out once again onto this very strong last defense they got right now. And Lucas really trying to favor for his team. They're going to be looking to consolidate their position right now, try and build this Uber, and maybe consider a push out in the second perhaps.
Yeah, DEGU's Uber was just ever so slightly long enough from a recontest not being feasible for Ora Elektro. And it was close, it was really close. SCRUFF gets piped down by Lucas, going aggressive once again in the lobby, just trying to get something going. Not quite happening with the Spy. And he always gets unlucky, I swear to God. Every time I see him play Spy, he just gets so unlucky.
Yeah, it's supposed to play with Spy, I guess. But Ora Elektro trying to generally choke out this lobby area, trying to force the Bin Black players back into their last point. So try and consolidate some sort of last push once again. Got Olga coming back right now, trying to get some ammo, probably getting ready for this last push. We've got Demo's probably looking for some sort of lobby push with the rest of the team. We've got Soldier already there, and meanwhile on the side of the Bin Black we've got Gink set up on this river area. Generally normal last point set up for both teams. They know they both have Ubers. A lot of Ora Elektro players actually stacked up this lobby area. If they can try and bring this engagement in, it's going to be generally hectic stuff. And Yillin's going to try and commit right now. He's going to get a pick onto Olga, but Eames needs to counter him right there. And it gets
going down as well. And the 1v1 in main, Hems wins that one. That was a lot of stuff happening at the same time.
The generally split decision here of whether Ora Elektro should commit on that was there's 4 players up either way. You're going to see Diva trying to commit onto Gink right now, trying to get some damage in, while Eames is sticking up. He's going to be careful not to get picked off here before the Uber comes off. Obviously, they've got Azunis as well set up in this water area. He's probably looking to try and surprise someone. Yillin's going to come down right now upwards, but not seeing him yet right now. He's going to jump in though, probably predicted that. He's going to try and fight off Azunis. Let that low HP just about gets that kill. He needs like some support there from Gink to try and get that kill.
And Bin Black just popped into lobby as well. While all of this was happening, and they're not getting too greatly rewarded. They got another pick onto Neville, caught him by surprise, but nobody else really. Everybody else just cutted it into second. They need to make use of this numbers this ad. They don't really though, they just pop into lobby on Ora Elektro. Still, Olga dies to some nice rocks by Yilin on second, but the single scout was still committed in. Maybe not quite enough though. DEGU is weak, but SCRUFF is the only one there dealing damage. Demos comes in, once gets some arrows, eventually it's enough. SCRUFF gets the pistol shots, and now they just really need to stay safe here to get out of this one, while Bin Black is trying to just defend as much as he can. Slightly messy situation there, but Bin Black forced it upon themselves that it will be messy, and Ora Elektro have just a better response, taking out the medic, while their Uber on Bin Black just couldn't catch anything.
Yeah, really hefty over there from SCRUFF. Managing to get those kills though, had to see eventually DEGU as well, so good stuff from him coming off that Uber, but generally going to reset once again to this last stalemate, which we've seen for quite a bit now. Coming to 10 minutes left in this game, and it's currently 2-0 to the side of Ora Elektro, so probably trying to play some sort of passive game as well, trying to retain this lead they have. They've got Zunis here trying to spam into River, but he's looking to back off. While the rest of the team try to set up in this shutter area. Eames is going to come in right now, trying to do a big jump in onto the right side, but there's going to be heavy deaths waiting for him. We've got Yilin set up in this water area with Gink as well. Both soldiers actually, but they've been back set up underneath, probably looking to pounce once the initial fight's over with. You've got Groove locked down the really hurt HP, he's going to get picked off by Eames. Just general chaos since the last point, trying to take some sort of purchase, but it's just exchanges back and forth right now. You've got Hems onto Azunis on top, trying to get some sort of clean up. Eventually he's going to get damage all the way inside of the bin back, coming up and picking up these kills.
Yeah, Ora Elektro just had no clue where people were, and everybody said, well, Hidden got died for the point, expecting to get flashed over it completely, while being able to kill the Demoman on the other side. But Lucas was just hiding in secret. Could have been much easier, but they didn't expect it, and they were prepared for the hard push, and the easy one, the easy setup, just was too much for them to handle after that.
Our control point.
Yes, once again, got the bin back, pushing up into the second point. Got DEGU set up on River right now.
This was so close, but he didn't go for it.
Yeah, Zeus went up. I wanted to solve the shot behind. I think it's going to be Zeus coming back right now. Probably looking for some sort of back cut, but he's got no health here. And he's going to get cleaned up by the spam rocket there from Yellen. A nice clean up from him. I think because Zeus didn't have enough health to jump the point, trying to go for a good back cap, but eventually he's going to cap out the side of the bin back. Also, Groove got dropped in that Uber.
Yeah, and they pop once again, optimistically forced around the corner. But Devils has to pop really far back as well, while everybody has to leave. So while that was maybe bad, it's at least not too bad in the sense that they completely crushed the response by staying close. But nonetheless, they are forced to concede all the ground on second. So just really optimistic. We were hoping to catch something, and really being the one getting caught here. Still, even Uber's situation won't escalate much further for now, as we're heading into yet another little stale. But we've seen time and time again that Ora Elektro's patience is paying off greatly here.
Indeed, and still with this two-round lead as well, coming into probably the closing stages of this game right now, 7.5 minutes left. 2-round leads, they're probably looking to try and maybe keep the stalemate going as long as possible to try and secure this map, and try and force some sort of mistake actually out of the bin back to try and commit into another point perhaps. So, we're going to see generally normal stuff that we've seen before. We're going to have a sentry set hit from Hems in the usual position. And it's going to be
Azunis quickly to take it out.
By Azunis.
Yeah, it's tough because they know what Ora Elektro can offer for a proper push, so they want to defend in case it happens, in case Ora Elektro is able to get some plays out, which we've seen before. But at the same time, we've also seen them time and time again. They just want to push out, make something happen, want to Uber exchange, surprise people and get stuff done this way, but just hasn't worked quite yet, and it puts them in this weird position where they want two different things at the same time.
Yeah, we had both the bin soldiers coming in really deep into the river. They're trying to get some sort of opening onto their soldiers, but eventually get forced out once again. I think this is the general game plan, is to try and force some sort of mistake out of the bin back, try and make one of their players overcommit out of, like, you know, impatience perhaps, trying to get them to focus off them. Generally, Ora Elektro Holland's pretty well actually coming in, and it'd be good to see a soldier jumping in from the river again. It's going to be a Zoom, just keep
another Uber into lobby, and Devils this time not in a position to lead quickly, has to pop with nothing else to back him off. Still obviously technically better Uber for him in terms of time. Yillen being the one here getting caught the second time around after Demos had we used with that pretty similar situation we've seen before. Just early Uber by bin black losing a player because of it, even though they got Demos majorly by surprise. But not quite over yet, as there's a lot of chaos happening, and Tempo under the point, constantly just walking over people, not enough to get the sentry. Demos died, everybody just died, and left standing are more blue than red players, and Lucas just walks forward with pipes.
I know, the stickies as well on the shot, just to be catching hold of there by surprise, and then the follow-up, like, they're just going to give enough of an opening for them back to, like, take this map point, and maybe generate some sort of, to get some sort of circle and get back onto the other points and try and take it back around, which they need at the moment, 5 minutes left.
Yeah, they need to carry this momentum forward if they can, but the sniper is a good way to stop that, denies a lot of space, makes the other team play careful when they don't want to, and immediately punishes while Yillen goes down. Everybody just taking spam as they can't go forward. King commits for the sniper, taken out. Everybody just so weak and big. DEGU gets in time, but not enough to save Hems 3 down right now with a really sketchy Uber. Perfect sniper play for Nevo, just in time to save this completely, and with that, Demos would close in on his Uber while 2 are dead already on the bin. They can't really contest this too much, but they really need a force.
Our control point.
Ora Elektro really playing the SO game really well, and got a big problem in Yillen right now, trying to get onto, I think it was the soldier there of the Olga that is get sniped off by Nevo, and now Ora Elektro once again really having the second point, and they've been really good at trying and like stabilizing these situations here. Even when they're forced back a point or so, they find some sort of way to try and counter it, and then immediately get back up the second point. And it must be really frustrating if you're on the side of the bin black right now, because what do? You You've got 4.5 minutes left, you're 2 rounds down, you've been on your last for the majority of the game, and you're starting to lose players on this last point, and who's coming in as well. I think it actually might have been a force, because they looked really early inside the team.
They're trying anyway, and then getting good results, getting a lot of faces by the early word, get the night as well by the pyro. But 2 down, sentry down isn't too bad. You can still make things happen as long as you have a good focus. And Eames getting on a point while SCRUFF moves over to the left side, taking another one down. Point gets played. DEGU gets the solo. Is able to block the point with the U, and they really need to kite this. It's a solo Uber, so it will last exactly 8 seconds. Enough to get some spawns on the few attempts. They're making the number situations better. As soon as unable to get something, they're all blocking, but they need to play the point.
They can still do this though, they've got to try and commit one player in. Eames is trying to do everything right now, but he's going to get cleaned off. Nevo's trying to peek him right now, but it's just 5 bodies right now on the side of the last point of the being black. And they're going to be looking to force off any Ora Elektro players that look to try and cap their point.
DEGU saved this is so much for them. Olga goes for backup. This might just be enough, maybe not to get around, but at least to deny some time. Tries to get King with a nice rocket down to Olga. Catches him in the air, and Bin Black needs to carry this momentum forward as much as they can. They barely have an advantage, but enough to make stuff happen. They need to get this point quickly. They don't have much time. They need this round with this momentum forward, and then another quick one after that, or it's game over.
Rest in peace on that last hold. He was trying to go for the hero play, but like Gink was there to counteract that. And now the Bin Black really looking to try and probably ramp up their aggression a bit, try and save all these points, get some rounds in before this timer runs out. 3 minutes left right now, so critical time right now for the side of Bin Black to try and get some purchase, maybe even a golden cap perhaps with the time given.
This is like the proper first time we've seen Ora Elektro like really on the defense beyond a second point. So it will be interesting what Bin Black has for the push yet. They pop in quickly, trying to get stuff done, but Gink goes down, essentially taken out in return. But Demos was so much better. As soon as it goes down as well, Pyro is there to clean stuff up in lobby. Needs a lot of damage.
It's not even Olga.
But the backup. Yellen on the point. It's tonight.
It's so close to it, and Gubby staying off this point right now. It's so close to being capped if one player gets in. But it's only DEGU up, and he's already on to mid, I think. So
yeah, they still
just
need to be
about
careful.
saving that.
I've seen too many rounds end here by just somebody randomly jumping in, and the one person staying back to watch last is not actually on the point, despite how much time there's. So they need to be careful. Really anybody get behind, and they're trying. They're trying really hard, just pushing past them. Lower.
Geek's right now on the point, very close to being capped, and they get it!
That is enough time to get the round here. Like, on average, a fast round lasts about 1.5 minutes starting now, and they have 140, so it is certainly possible, but it needs to be pretty much flawless.
Yeah, essentially 90 seconds to try and get another round and bring it to a golden cap. There's a chance to win the round outright, but they're going to be looking to try and get some sort of points on the board. I'm going to be looking at Gink for this bed, because I saw him do a really aggressive bomb actually on the first one, and he's going to be trying to come in right now. He's going to do the general bomb on the right side. A lot of Ora Elektro players actually getting caught out here. I think the medic was actually caught out there, and Demon's actually going to go down. And there's going to be 3 players up the side of Ora Elektro. They've got to be careful not to collapse here. There's a minute left on time, and currently they only have 2 players up, both soldiers.
Olga is still around on mid, just trying to somehow stay alive, but he's stuck on the wrong side of mid as everybody just pushes past him. They're trying to start the backup, but that's not really the way to go about this. Olga manages to get out there for now.
Yellen coming onto this mid point, but Zunis is just alone on this mid. He's going to get a pick onto Yellen, but he's going to be nowhere near for this last bridge. We might do the last bridge of this normal time. He's going to be walking in with the super right now. Sentry gun going up from right here, but it's not going to be enough though. They're going to be stacked on this left point, and so many players are in this ball right now. They've got to be careful here. Even though there's Sticks and Eames on the point, it's like a critical time right now. 30 seconds is still doable for the side of the Bin Black.
Ooh, the Solis get denied. Azunis did so much with distracting people, but is it enough? Gink on the point, the Heavy just sneaks on it, can't get it in time. Yellen tries as hard as Pyro's up, gets it in time, knocks
it. Cleans it up! And Yellen's going to come as well. Can he save it for his team? Come on, Yellen. It's so close. Demon's got to be careful, got to play it perfectly, and he's going to clear it off. That is a map for Ora Elektro, despite the hectic. Hems is in the late second zone, but he's going to get cleaned up as well. And by the skin of their teeth, Ora Elektro hold out on Gully Wash and take 3 points.
This was a map. Like, we mentioned Bin Black getting impatient, doing mistakes, and Ora Elektro being the patient one, but every time they did, and it really was just twice, it got punished really, really hard. And it showed off why they didn't do it as much. They just got like really antsy on the last point, wanted to push instead of keep holding, and that was their mistake. They got just pushed past them on lower, effectively backup really, and lost the round with that. And then just another convincing mid where Elektro just really hadn't, really just couldn't die. It didn't even matter if they won or not. They just couldn't afford to die, and they completely steamrolled by just Yilin and Dukas going really, really aggressive.
Yeah, it was like a case of what could have happened in 20 minutes condensed into 3. Like suddenly, like a greyhound on the track, like the Bin Black just shut out the gates from that last push there and managed to get their round back, and just really, really nearly trying to bring it back to the Golden Cat, but Ora Elektro somehow, with like the weirdest of circumstances, just about managed to hold that point, and they're going to take the full 3 points from this. So just really hectic stuff.
Yeah, this was one hell of a game, and we've been sent lovely logs of it as well. So let's look at some fancy little numbers here. And assuming I can actually click on things that is the right thing, there we go. And 2-1, the end scoreline. Interesting game. Ora Elektro controlled it for so much, but at the same time, just a short time they didn't. It just spiraled out of control so quickly, and it was really interesting to see. It shows what Bin Black is capable of once the momentum is there.
Yeah, it was a really slow game being played off by the Bin Black there. Just I think they're trying to go for a more conservative style to try and hold off on the last point, but once the time constraint was there, they were forced to go aggressive. And once we saw that, it was just a completely different team, nearly. And nearly actually managed to tie it up, but just about. But looking at his stats right now, I can immediately see Eames doing the majority of damage with his team, reaching 10k and getting about 360 damage a minute. So good stuff from him coming off of that very close map.
Yeah, and they needed that. We mentioned like the demo had comparison and Eames having the worst end of that, but he stepped up when he needed to, and it made a big difference for sure. Eames doing all the damage here, 368 is nothing to scoff at. But after that, just a lot of blue players, and it just really showed how they played despite a relatively slow game for the most part. They just didn't want to stay on last. Constantly were forward either in main or on the top left side on shutter. Just constantly trying to like spam out damage, trying to see if they can get something with it. Lucas King constantly just firing damage of seeing if they can make something with it happen. Didn't get too many results, unfortunately, but the few times it did, it mattered quite a bit.
Let's have a look at these heal stats right now. Immediately I'm seeing DEGU with 2 drops. I think one of those might have been due to a sticky trap, and maybe the other was due to a bomb. But yeah, proving a bit costly there for his team, but to me it was a big stalemate. I mean, that round in itself was 18 minutes long.
I think an important thing to look at here, and I alluded to it earlier, is the deaths within 20 seconds after Uber, which usually just means that the hectic fight after an Uber exchange usually is the part where your medic dies, where the other ones might not. And if we look at this 3 for DEGU, none for demos, it just really showed how time and time again, we saw it all the time, Bin Black just trying to take the exchange, be it on mid to second, be it on last into lobby, just constantly trying to make stuff happen with the exchange, but it didn't go too well the majority of the times, and it just costed them their medic's life 3 times in this match.
Yes, but it'd be interesting to see how this converts into the next map, which is something I'm a bit unfamiliar with. It's going to be Cardinal. What do you know about this map with her? DuMmTm, what do you think about like how it should be played?
I know that the mid to second stalemate is kind of sketchy with how many areas of entry there are, and that is generally one of the lesser liked areas of the map. Last, as well, a tough one to break, mostly because pushing out is really difficult. And I mentioned I like to watch the teams I look at beforehand and just a little bit in scrims to see if they have some general gameplay and something to look out for specifically. And for Bin Black, pushing out of last looked like a massive task. They struggled with it so much in the games they had leading up to this, where Ora Elektro had a significantly better showing on this map, not just against any team, but against 7 of all teams. And they managed to still not win, but have it be a really close one for sure. So I don't know how much confidence that will instill into Bin Black, but they need it going forward. And with these last few minutes of this game, they just need to get like something going, no matter what, quickly, and just roll over Ora Elektro before they can set up, stabilize, like you mentioned, and just play their game patiently.
Yeah, judging from the outside of how this map looks, I'm imagining we're going to see a lot more soldier presence perhaps from both teams, but I'm probably going to look in the way of Gink and Yilin to try and make some big plays here. There's a lot of room here for them to try and get some good bombs in, which we saw a few of actually during Gully Wash, but just like most of it was on the last hold there. But if they manage to get some sort of space in, we could probably see some magical stuff happening from them.
something I'm interested in is how the scouts will perform here if it comes to faster situations a lot. And it doesn't even necessarily need that. It's just that the stalemates are stretched out over a bigger area of these choke points. That it will come to those fights a little bit more, that the scouts are a little bit more forced to do things here. And if we compare the stats here, just really quickly, don't even need to pull them up on the screen, I just look at them. Both SCRUFF and Nebo dealing both more damage than the other scouts and getting significantly more kills as well. So just in pure numbers, they did significantly better. This could be a really, really important factor for them.
Yeah, we probably see a bit more actually from the sniper terms of things. So I saw Nevo generally holding down areas pretty well on the class, and with the long sight lines that you got on this map, it really could be a good chance for him to get some good kills in.
Oh yeah, that's something to look out for. The sightlines are weird on this map in that you cover a lot of space, but at the same time, there's always something to stand behind. So as long as the other team doesn't want to leave the area, you're not gonna get something. But at the same time, if you catch them trying to move a lot, that is where you can strike really hard, both from mid into second and from second really far back passively. You've got sightlines. On last, it's a little bit weirder because the setup that you can have on last, stay safe, is just really nice to avoid most sniper sightlines pretty nicely. On mid as well, I've seen people try it, including Ora Elektro, a little bit. I'm not too confident in that this will be a good strategy to put it out here, just having the sniper on mid. For mid specifically, there's a couple of things we've seen a little bit. We've seen just yesterday a Sense game, the first match, official match anyway, on this map this season. And they played relatively passively, just let stuff come their way and counter that pretty nicely with a passive team like Ora Elektro. This could certainly be something that we'll see happening. Otherwise, just direct bombs happened a lot this game as well, and decently successfully. So on something outside of the game we've seen yesterday that I've seen a lot is flanking sollies. There's a lot of areas you can go from and try to make stuff happen with, and maybe we'll see some of that. Let's see what happens on map number 2 here. On this match, Ora Elektro won CP Galliosh in a close one, but mostly controlled one for them nonetheless. 2-1 fashion in their favor, and that CP Cardinal will be map number 2.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Luke in this mid right now. He's going to be coming down the right side. Aim's very deep as well onto the left side, trying to get the bam under him. It's a big problem actually from Azunis coming up top right now, trying to take some space into the hut area and generate exchange frags now, but this will be more in the way of the mid back right now. We've got Groove really pretty deep, managed to pick up 3 kills actually on that mid. Good stuff from him, and well, Hems is trying to get some clean up from Older, and despite that, with the mid down as well, from the side of Ora Elektro to force back off here.
Yeah, really just nice team aggression from the Bin Black, where Ora Elektro just kind of tried to relax, let the Sollies do the work, and they did deal a lot of damage to that, but he's just surfed far enough away. Nobody wanted to commit to that and finish off, especially the combo couldn't on Ora Elektro, as the rest of Bin Black just moved forward into them, and more or less left DEGU doing his own thing, and his serve was good enough, so they could afford doing it, and this will be a mid-win for them, with advantage to move forward with.
Interestingly, we seem to have already have a last setup here for the side of the Ora Elektro. We've already got a heavy and the engineer setup. We got Eames with the board position with the stickies. So I'm guessing maybe second point isn't exactly something you want to hold on this map, perhaps.
Yeah, they will have still advantage here, so they need something massive, and they have a heavy, they have an energy. But Bin Black doesn't want to use early, and as soon as gets taken out with their pipe down, push comes in with the Uber now. Finally, once the high ground got taken, trying to take as much as they can, but they commit deep with mediocre results. It's trading evenly. Davos is kind of in trouble with Gink shooting him, but the sentry is still there. Gink gets baited by it, taken down, and that will be a successful hold for Ora Elektro with the medic staying alive.
Yeah, essentially they're doing most of the work, and survivability there with needing demos to try and stay alive there. Nice against the Rockets with King. And now we're going to see Ora Elektro immediately into the second point. Demons have already taken down some low HP, as the rest of the team have moved in on the right side. But Ubers have actually popped off, so I don't know if it was a force there onto that second point, but it should secure the camp nonetheless. But we're going to see a slight overadvantage here from the side of Black. Grooves in really deep on the left side, trying to get some sort of purchase into Nevo, he does, killing him. And now Olga's in deep on the right side, trying to get some sort of purchase in, but he's going to get extreme flag to Hems instead. And with the double soldier aggression top right, it should be a relatively easy push here for the side of Bin Black.
Yeah, Bin Black just didn't let them stabilize, which is what you mentioned they really want to do. But these spawn times here on second just really favor the attacking team quite a bit, and they made it work with that. Just got a kill, got positioned really quickly, forced them back. and just demanded the space back as quickly as they could. Will give them a slight advantage, but not a lot to work with as the sentry is being built and the heavy is up on the field already.
Yeah, now the Bim Black kind of come en masse into right side, but a lot of flashes actually on the side of DEGU. Very hefty Uber from him, and then we got Azunis on the back line. So DEGU's with a nice surf around that, trying to back off there, and the Uber's eventually going to get popped out on the side of Ora Elektro. I think Team Demos was like holding the spawn during that entire time. Hems is going to get caught out with the Uber as well, so that's going to be another comfortable arsehole there. DEGU might get caught out late, and if he does, that's going to be SCRUFF picking up the medic there for the side of Ora Elektro.
Yeah, really nice hold. Bim Black just couldn't crack the defense enough, got the sentry, but that was all they really got with it, and with the late death on DEGU, recontest potential is pretty much gone entirely. Hems just now spawns as well, and unless my game is taunting me, this will be a pause.
So yeah, pausing off after that action. It was quite interesting though, like going into those Ubers from those last two pushes from the side of the Bim Black. There were very hefty Ubers actually up from DEGU. I don't know if that was trying, because there were so many people trying to come in for one choke point, and there was like the general spam from the demo man in that. But it's interesting to not see the Bim Black generally spread out a bit more, because like they were committing 5 players into 1 point, both pushes, I think. So like DEGU was really forced to try and commit the Uber to the rest of the team. And
yeah, that's what I noticed as well, because from what I've seen so far on the map, there's like 2 popular things. It's either commit from the left or the right side, with the flank, which consists of either 2 or 3 people, depending on how you want to look at it. Committing from the exact opposite side, kind of like stuff you see generally out of, let's say, Process or Granny, let's say. And the only exception to that is Ascent, who like to push from center, like the top area, and just get in there from the middle area. And Bim Black just stacking up too much on one area might just not be the way to go about this, and everybody on the flank side on Ora Elektro has just a free time to stay alive, spam over, and with that the pause is over, momentum in Ora Elektro's hands. While they're moving forward here, no heals. Best they can do is try to force their sticky traps. He's
going to be jumping in, trying to get onto Demos. Demos surfs away. Nice stuff from him, trying to get that, but no pressure step for Gink. He's going to go down to the side of SCRUFF. Try to get an interesting hold there for him to try and take up, as the rest of the Ora Elektro players try to cap this midpoint. And they're going to be looking to move on the right side, I think, with the teams right now. Again, really heavy committals onto these flanks right now. It doesn't seem to be any sort of push from what I've seen.
Oh no, they have 2 on the left side as 4 are on the right side together, and Azunis are never on the flank. Azunis will fall, but never will avenge him while the rest of the combo was busy defending themselves. From a jump by Yillen gets successfully fended off, Uber popped quite early by a lot of damage, and that moment being close, and they really want to have that for the last push here. Spawns are coming one by one. Hem's not quite here yet, Yillen is, and Ora Elektro kind of scared by the potential that as Uber don't want to overcommit, but still want to force Olga and SCRUFF over falling fairly early, and that will potentially kill this entire operation.
Yeah, Jeremy held up by the presence of Lucas there in the flank. I mean, managed to get that force, and then Jeremy was scrambling to try and get some positioning onto him with the pride coming really late. And while it was happening, DEGU was really building his Uber in the spawn, I think, trying to get his Uber up. And that just Jeremy killed any sort of aggression from the Ora Elektro push there. Now we're going to see the Bim Black trying to recap the second point.
Yeah, they're stacking up on the point, just trying to get as much time as possible, not letting anything get to waste here. And Ora Elektro respected but because of the Uber situation even, and just far back on mid waiting, getting their own. Bim Black trying to make stuff happen regardless of that, coming in even Ubers don't want to pop early, but eventually just forced to still relatively even exchange. Now it just really depends on who gets the first kill, and Yillen overcommits for the 1 kill onto Olga. Both scrubs back quickly, and DEGU pipe down, but Eames not fast enough out of this one. Once again, even Uber exchange favoring Ora Elektro.
Yeah, once again, it was a really hefty Uber coming from there from DEGU. Like, flashing, I think it was 4 players, including the soldiers that were going very deep. So yeah, another hefty Uber from him. We've got Hems hiding in this second point right now, trying to walk into the point, trying to get on the demos right now, trying to choke around, still alive, and just about dies there. I think demos only got dinked once there. So
yeah, I think the juggles of this of the explosions just made it harder for the scouts to hit him, and made it way closer than it needed to be. But nonetheless, he's dead eventually. He got a kill, but he died himself, so it's just really not favoring anybody. But overall, the Uber situation does favor Ora Elektro, and they need to make use of that as we're still in an even game. And this is just prime opportunity, whereas all the other times they had an opportunity to put it to last, they were forced kind of early, didn't get too much out of it this time. Just nice little Uber into last. DEGU gets completely destroyed in spawn. Sticky and pipe combo. He was thinking he's safe, could just switch back. And that is where he was wrong. Strong initial start to this, but they didn't catch much else, and this is dying. Will cause a little bit of trouble here for them.
Yeah, it was a case of Ora Elektro really wrecking stuff at the right side, but they're just refusing to do anything about the sentry on the left side and the players that are around there. They're just generally good positioning there for the side of the bin black. We've got this engine fight right now, and Grooves are going to get better at that, picking up SCRUFF. I think wrench out at some point, and
just
Hems
push
going
it
to get
lobby.
picked up onto Demos, so that's going to be down as well for the side of Ora Elektro, and they're really looking to scamper back off.
Yeah, really strange. I thought they would have more time to get out of that one, but apparently not so. We're still in lobby. Hems catches that one, and with that, people are still all over the place. Hems dying late. Lucas as well. DEGU can't commit to that with basically none of his team there. It was a 2 people procedure once Hems died there, and that is not enough against a team that's already spawning back in to second, and with that, Ora Elektro don't want to let this get to waste here. Not a situation, but they don't have a moment to deal with. They want some of that, pushing over on the high ground area. Not able to find anything quickly though, and the longer they stay here, the riskier it gets as the spam keeps coming in and eventually just scares them away.
Yeah, eventually Ora Elektro forced to reset after that push. It looks like they're trying to commit to some sort of drive push, but maybe they got a bit more intel on the right side about the gun that was behind the crate there. So generally backed off there, like avoiding all that spam, and then they're looking to try and normal this. No significant advantage here for both teams right now, because as soon as Zuna's launching up, it's a very interesting spot actually. He's up on this apartment area, trying to overlooking this choke point. So if the bin black are looking to try and put a shot at this last point, we could be in for a hefty surprise from the side of Azunis here.
Yeah, even situation. Bin Black have shown time and time again that they don't want to get stuck on the last point. They actually want to make stuff happen here, but it's tough, especially on the last point that you're not too familiar with. You don't know what to expect, and Lucas didn't expect that one. Azunis just walks over here and does again out of that alive, just barely. And DEGU guys as well catches the pipe. SCRUFF have to clean up some more with double scout combo. Get Hems as well, and Impatient once again punished greatly.
Yeah, I think it was more of a feed than anything really, just like so many players committed to the left side and just getting picked up one by one. The sentry gun goes down to the side of the group, and let's go 2 players up, just a respawning Gink alive, and that's going to be around there for Ora Elektro.
They just didn't expect this quick counter-aggression there, and got some of their own medicine to make this 1-0 scoreline just about 9 minutes into the game. And yeah, just a huge pipe and quick scout follow-up into the further lobby area. Really nicely done by Ora Elektro. Will get them the lead heading into mid-fight number 2.
Yeah, well, Lucas here, right, a bit sooner I think than Eames, and Lucas trying to get some general spam onto him, maybe getting one sticky onto him, but he's going to get enough kills. A big bomb once again from the side of Azunis here, going immediately getting onto DEGU with a nice pick there. That's going to be a medic down for the side of the bin black, as the rest of Ora Elektro looks to try and overcommit here. Lucas and Groove going down as well. It's just Hems and Gink alive right now. Hems trying to take the solo fight there, but he's going to get picked off. It's just Dink trying to come behind right now, trying to get onto Demos. Demos juking away so well, and it's just going to be Dink alive on this very low HP. He's eventually going to get cleaned up there. So Ora Elektro just holding on to that mid cap.
Yeah, really nice. They eventually got what they wanted on the first mid, which is just a quick dab onto DEGU with a deep jump. This time with Scout and the Solly will do it together. They were cleaning up everything. That was weak after that as well. While everybody else was just busy keeping the medic alive, and this time around much more successfully. So more of the same, but in a much different fashion and much more successfully for Ora Elektro at that, having the Uber, and they're bunching up on left with 3 people wanting to take this in with the Uber, but Eames gets dropped by the sticky trap.
Yeah, that's probably going to be in the push right there, but the Soldiers looking to try and peek in. We've got Demos still on the left side. We've got Olga and Azunis with a deep bomb on the right side, but no one knows about the gun on the left side. That's going to be to get some general damage while the Ubers get popped off. We've got DEGU, I think, hiding in spawn, just trying to build this up, and it's actually going to be holding strong on the right side as the rest of the Ora Elektro players try to back off. We've got Demos running away with Olga, I think, trying to get back right now, but a huge Uber advantage to the side of the bin black. Probably looking to try and push into the second point. We're going to see Lucas up top now, trying to get some spam onto the point. The Groove gets dropped in this Uber though, and DEGU still hasn't popped yet. He's got to be careful about the stickies up top as well. He gets dead, but doesn't quite catch him. DEGU really low HP. Eventually had to pop off that Uber. He was on like 30 HP.
But 2 people are behind.
It might be a double gap cap here. I don't know if there's a gun up. It's just Hems behind. Ashy Gink as well is there for support. You've got the Azunis playing on this point, trying to deny this, but it's going to be eventually forced out. Trying to play this aerial advantage here, but not enough HP to try and deal with that. So probably Ora Elektro looking to reset there.
Yeah, just a mild mistake. They had such a good opportunity in all this chaos to just send some people in to help Azunis at the end to kill DEGU. All moved back, and losing Demos in that whole chaos as well just made this all the more necessary. So went much better for bin black than even Ora Elektro expected here, and surely Hesitance got might be punished on the push out, but this time around they have much better opportunity to do so as the heals just now arrived. But Sniper will cause a little bit of an issue here. It's the Hams, the first one to get on Groove as well, just overcommitting, trying to contest the Sniper that's just so far back.
Yeah, I think the rest of the Bimblack were focused on that Sniper. They didn't expect the scout SCRUFF there to try and clean up there, so getting 2 kills. And Evo's still against one this last push, so probably going to open up a bit more opportunities here for the side of Ora Elektro. We've got 3 players down on the side of the Bimblack waiting to respawn, while DEGU tries to get to up to scratch. So probably a good opportunity here to try and lead with some sort of second, maybe a hero shot perhaps onto this left side.
Yeah, they probably want to rely on the Sniper for this right now, not trying to make something happen until something decent arises. DEGU is safe. Groove, however, isn't quite that lucky. DEGU just on the staircase, kind of doing the Badlands straps of hiding in the staircase to not get shot, but nobody else has the luxury right now. Is getting also taken down by Olga up there on the balcony area. Will leave some more space for Ora Elektro to make something happen. Yillen fought as well, but he has so many people to deal with, all on his own. Third pick already. Spawns are coming in, but Ora Elektro can just keep going one pick at a time.
I know, so it's like Bimblack were really trickling the players in there. We saw like 3 players eventually go down one by one, and there was just this easy high camp there for the side of Ora Elektro to get that round there. And
yeah, a lack of familiarity is shining through here for Bimblack much more so than Ora Elektro. Just getting pick by pick, and Ora Elektro just Bimblack even not knowing how to respond to that.
So yeah, going to come into this third bit of this game actually, and coming into the halfway point as well time-wise. We're going to see Eames on this left side round. Again coming into Lucas, really deep in, and Lucas gets the early pick onto Eames there. That's going to damage down for the side of Ora Elektro, and really on the receiving end there of that barrage there. And now the rest of the Bimblack, they can just really overcommit here, trying to get some sort of purchase on Deimos, but they've got to be mindful with the cap right now. No one's actually got any time on cap. You're going to see Groove coming back for this cap right now, and DEGU gets a pick onto Olga as well with the arrows, so that's going to be another frag there for the side of the Bimblack. Looking to try and follow up this aggression. We've got Azunis here on the back lines trying to get some sort of distraction play going on, but probably going to be isolated there as the Mythic will finally come in for Groove.
Can he get out? No, that rocket will connect, he gets taken down. I think he mightly just have to decide, will I go for the block or mid, will I go for the medic, will I just try to survive? He went for the ladder and unsuccessfully so, too much damage taken on the way. Weird whole situation. Ora Elektro just really didn't want to give up the second point for the longest time there, but eventually just kind of had to, due to just the fight really favoring the blue team. And with that, they are finding themselves in the lobby with another opportunity. It's been a while since we've been on this part of last, but they are back and looking for stuff to happen. But Lucas is down and has overcommitted so far into the last point as well from main.
Yeah, so like Bimblack really getting caught out by these like surprising sticky traps as well, and I think it would have been interesting as well if they actually committed to that push to see DEGU Zubas, how they change. But he's going to get forced out here by the side of Eames getting caught out with the stickies. Eames trying to get some sort of purchase onto the Uber players, but can't shoot the shiny guys. They're going to be walking up on this right side right now, but Deimos is comfortably out there. Probably going to wait for spawns with the Demo Man and Soldier down.
But they don't have much to defend this with, just a Scout and a Sniper, and they need to block the point, which is prime opportunity to get a Force out. Everybody's in here though, so they need to make stuff happen and get clean up kit, but they're struggling to do so. It's only SCRUFF now, the Sniper got taken down, stepping off the point, and they can't afford to. So much chaos, and it favors the blue team. Bimblack will take it. 3 people going down for the Force was just enough for Bimblack to just have really, really overwhelming presence here on the last point.
Yeah, the respawns there were a second earlier, but you might have seen Ora Elektro with a chance perhaps to try and save that, but not enough there eventually. That's going to be a round now for the Bimblack. Going to be the second of this series actually. Coming into this fourth mid, I'm going to be looking at Lucas actually for this mid because he managed to get an early pick to Eames, but he's going to be arriving quite late compared to him. Going to really try and get some spam onto him with some stickies, but eventually he falls back with the heals. Got another big bomb here from the soldiers of Ora Elektro trying to get some purchase onto DEGU. He's going to be forced up into this room area onto the right side as the rest of Ora Elektro trying to heal up and try and maybe move for another offensive, but it doesn't look like they've got enough frags of their own. They're going to be looking to back up here. All the chasing thin players try to come in. We've got Gink on the left side as well as the rest of the team.
Yeah, and the chase once again here trying to just get more and more, not letting them set up on second, and it will be so SCRUFF goes down. Lucas will be traded out, but at that point they all abandoned space here already. Elektro will be forced back to last. Once again, strong mid-fight for Bimblack, and yeah, it was just a really weird head-to-head matchup on Bimblack's perspective, right side on the mid-fight, and they just got the better end of it, as simple as that. And yeah, with that, we are back here, and I see somebody just going all the way back to the forward once the switch class will be groove on sniper, so much like Never last time, they also want the sniper to just make stuff happen carefully, safely from a distance, and getting the big picks possibly. And group will be the offense of choice. However, as soon as it's in spawn, so they might already know about it, so he won't get the surprise shot. He needs to make stuff happen, despite our team knowing about it.
Yeah, they've got Demon's immediately set in this left side area, behind this hut, away from any sort of sideline, I think, for the sniper. So he's in the company spot while the rest of the team kind of come in. Got Groove in the shutter area with Yillen trying to get some sort of purchase on the soldiers perhaps, while Lucas is spamming stickies that we're one to the right side trying to get some sort of purchase in. And Azula's really deep under Lucas there, getting nice rockets off of him, and he's probably hungry for more. He's going to be coming around to this right side, really looking onto Yillen, but he's going to immediately see that soldier presence there and back off appropriately, while the rest of the Bin Black was to try and regroup.
Yeah, unsuccessful play there, and unfortunately for Ora Elektro, however, this is just not enough to make something good happen. That one demo being down is nice, but it just doesn't allow you that much freedom, especially not trying to get into the sideline of a sniper here safely, so they can't do much, they just reply with a sniper of their own. However, group the wall hitting teams goes down, and into last, demo pick is more significantly more and out of last, so Bin Black is just in with this, taking high ground early.
Yeah, Bin Black looking to try and get as close as possible before popping off to see, but they're going to see the sentry on the left side here, so Yellen's going to come to be spanned out. We've got Gink here trying to isolate as soon as he gets the pick up him. Nice force there from Olga to try and force up the Uber.
Nice shot by Groove, takes down the medic, no Uber to respond with, and this is looking like a
stuff from him. That should be a comfortable last point here for the side of the Bin Black, and then we'll equalise it 2-all.
Yeah, Azuna was also taking a fight from behind, somehow found himself weak in shutter, so he just went all the way around, took a pack, wanted to surprise people on the right side of the bigger lobby area here, but he just missed the shots and got taken down. Had the prime opportunity to kill one, maybe two, if lucky, but unfortunately saw a drop on top of that. Just completely crushed all the dreams they had to even gain once again, and these bit fights have gone better and better for Bin Black now.
Yeah, Lucas once again immediately onto Eames. Really good with that early pressure onto the demo man, has to be said, because we've been really consistent with that. We've got a big soldier in coming in from Zulis going to pick up Lucas, and then the exchanges is coming in right now. 2 frags either side right now, with the heals not on the side of Ora Elektro. They're probably looking to try and get some sort of sack frag onto the side of DEGU. Eventually Gink just doing really good presence here. Got Scruff in behind, they're trying to get in, but he's going to get picked off once again by Hems, and it's just going to be a respawning demos up, and it's going to be a big win for the side of
Big by Yillen, he got the crucial kill there, the demos pick, and Ora Elektro unable to recover from it. The last few the little sack whip there at the end, just not together enough, everybody just in one by one, not able to get the kill they wanted, and Bin Black is just getting better and better as time went on here. Looked really struggling for them early on, but these bits just give them so much momentum every time now.
Yeah, the confidence is definitely brewing for the side of Bin Black. They're starting to get pull off more cohesive pushes, a bit less nervously onto this right side. You're going to see DEGU in with this Uber right now, trying to flash onto both players. They're going to immediately take down that gun, but a lot of the Uber was actually spent with those flashes to both players. You're going to see Azunis on the right side trying to get in. There's already half Catline though, so probably going to be seeing a lot more defensively here, but the frags are going to the side of the Bin Black. Yunus trying to come in late now with a nice rocket down to Azunis, but just might about hold out here with the health difference. 3 HP, Groove trying to save the situation here, but he gets cleaned up by Nevo. Nice stuff from him to save that last point.
Yeah, just as you were about to say, the picks are going Bin Black's way. Just some explosion, I honest to God don't remember what it was. Just killed like 2 people at the same time, and that was just the turning point completely. The medic died as well and all of that, and this will turn it back around. Not able to contest the point here as well. On a point this recontestable as the second point is a huge setback for the Bin Black. They just have to deal with a push coming in, and the sniper in response to that will be the answer as the Uber gets forced just by that alone. Ora Elektro unable to find anything with it, and that's just exactly what the Bin Black needs here.
Yeah, so definitely a significant Uber advantage coming up with this, and the sniper presence as well, it's going to definitely delay any sort of push here from the side of Ora Elektro. We've got a group here on the right side trying to get some sort of purchase into point right now, looking at trying to get some spice into Demos perhaps, but frags immediately going the way of side of Ora Elektro, but the headshot immediately onto Demo's going to counteract that, and there's going to be 3 picks now for the side of the Bin Black. As the rest of the Ora Elektro probably looking to try to attack frag, but the nice headshot there from Groove is going to take down the demos. That's going to be a med down for the side of Ora Elektro. As Eve's trying to come in really late onto the side of DEGU, but he's going to get picked off and dealing with the stacks there, not enough. Good to have Azunis in the right side trying to come in. He's going to get launched in, trying to come in behind right now. Very low HP, he's going to get eventually created from the rocket there by Yellen. So just about saving DEGU there. And
Yeah, that was really clutch by Groove to get these headshots here, because once the situation started on the right side here in this little building, somebody hit behind the corner. I don't remember who it was, and as soon as went to clear that, but got surprised by that around the corner. Hems came in to help as well, but then it just got turned against them, and both of them got surprised by just 2 scouts coming in, completely denying them, and it was looking really sketchy, but the headshots completely turned this around. But all this means nothing if you don't get any more than that, and with Yelan and Lucas dying here, it's not looking too hot anymore, despite the situation just kind of forced back. Oh, Electro so close, and Choke with Vivo just being popped in their face. They got what they wanted, they just need to survive it now.
Groove not managing to get anything there off that Uber, so that's going to be a player down. Besides that, with a huge Uber advantage coming down from the side of Ora Elektro into this bit point. Probably going to try and use it actually to try and secure this mid cap. But Olga going down very early there onto the right side there, and Hems is going to get exchanged off of that. The big bomb here from Gink trying to get onto Nevo. He gets the wall shot onto him and trying to get onto Demos right now. Spun up from Yelan. Yelan's get taken down to low HP. Scruff with very good protective.
They both just push past each other, and that means right on mid, Blue just kind of stuck behind them with 2 people. Eventually Demos will use this Uber, trying to just secure these kills, and as long as they get DEGU, which they just did, they will be securing themselves a little Uber advantage once this is over.
Yeah, so good stuff and then to get pick up the med kill. They're going to be looking to try and get this off, probably looking to regroup, so it'll buy the bit back some time to try and figure some sort of offensive approach here. They're going to be stacking up onto the second point with the rest of the team. Not any other classes from what I can see. It's actually a sniper from Gink now, I think. Which is interesting. I've seen snipers from Gink and Groove. And it's actually going to try to forward hold here, trying to get some sort of purchase into the teams or scout patch, but probably looking to back spawn right now. As soon as it's going to pick up Yelan on the flanks, that's going to be a soldier down. But the rest of the Bin Black players trying to regroup from his right side. Eames is going to pick up Groove as well, so that's 2 players down. Probably looking to try and regroup to this last point, but they're sort of looking to back off here. But Hem still really deep. Eventually he's going to realise, hey, I don't want to lose my life here, and that's going to be a second cap there for the side of Ora Elektro.
Yeah, really slow push, but successfully so, just slowly moving forward, waiting for the picks to be in place, and getting 2 of those just secured it just fine. Getting the second point, not much of any Uber advantage in play here, barely even 15%. But they don't want to waste any time regardless, just coming in, getting Gink early, Eames all across the point, everybody just stacking it, and no sticks are there. Once again, just neglecting the point and getting a lot out of that on Ora Elektro.
They were pouncing like big cats into that point there, I tell you. They had time 5 immediately, and there was just no way for the pin back to respond there. Just very, very fast stuff there from the side of Ora Elektro to pick up that round. And now with 5 minutes 30 left and the round lead, it's going to be interesting to see how this game pans out.
Yeah, the mid-fights have been still favoring Bin Black, so let's see if they can finally make it happen, as the tempo fight last time went sketchy for Ora Elektro.
Huge bombs in for the side of Ora Elektro coming in out again from soldiers. As soon as it's going to get picked onto Lucas there with the exchange from Yelan and the rocket there. As the rest of the Ora Elektro players trying to take some position on both the scouts.
From behind!
But Gink from behind! 2 picks, live Steve up from him. It's going to pick up the demo and the medic there for the side of the Bin Black. Now trying to save the situation here. We've got Olga with the exchange of the Hems. Both scouts in on DEGU, going to mince him up. They're probably going to get onto Groove as well, but Groove's trying to make the most of it, trying to get the pistol out, but neither's going to save that. That's going to be a mid-cap.
And Groove focused solely in the backline, so the scout moving forward. It was almost a lose-lose situation. Spam from the backline, so scout up front. They just completely overwhelmed them. Nice little post-mid-dev aggression, if you want to call it that, which just tends to happen every time you might die. It's just you go in, try to get the other one to make it better for yourself, and with that, they don't just make it better, they just completely turn it around. Elektro back on mid, take it with that, and even nice Uber advantage off the back of that. A little bit more than 30% to use here. Don't want to use early, however, and right now they can't. They just want to threaten this forward disadvantage to take second with Bin Black setting back, not wanting to let space just get wasted here with the sniper being in play. They want to just threaten the sideline as much as they can.
Yeah, trying to sort of freedom of movement here for Demos to try and get on the point and provide heals for his team. So generally doing a good job of that, but eventually going to be back top here. It's going to be a second cap right now, side of Ora Elektro coming into this last point. DEGU should be able to get his Uber up just about for this last bit. It's actually sitting about balance here. I wonder if if Lucas could bind that. He nearly did as well, I have to tell you. It was very close there. Like scouts looking really good to commit into that bridge area, but just about to manage it.
But this is such a good opportunity for Ora Elektro to just like establish this position and squeeze out this lead slowly but surely with 3 minutes left on a point that is arguably really hard to push out of. they might just opt to wait, and they've shown a lot of patience and restraint on Gullywash before, where Bin Black showed a lot of impatience and just wanting to push as much as they can. And sure, they realize what is a good situation, but maybe that's not quite enough all the time. SCRUFF goes in for a kill here, not able to get that. Is too impatiency coming out of Ora Elektro, instead wanting to actually get another round on the board.
Really deep as well, trying to come in with the bomb there, but he's going to be forced back, maybe even picked off here by the side of the sniper, and Eames is going to get a pipe onto Gink in the process of that, and Groove's getting juggled up as well. It's going to get another pipe step from Eames. Nice stuff from him, and the rest of the bin back, probably they can back off right now, but with the time constraints here and the round advantage, probably going to have to consider committing onto this second push.
Yeah, they're coming in from one on the left side, trying to take the high ground here, forcing Yillen back, not getting much else. But the were forced eventually, just with some spam by Eames, before Lucas could force them out.
I think instead there as well from the left side, so that was like a double spam there. So nicely done there from Ora Elektro to get that force. It's going to prove crucial for this last push, I'm sure of it. It's going to be this lead and time constraint for the side of the bin.
Yeah, let's see if they even opt to do it, because like once again, 2 minutes on this point might just be enough to be just really confident and waiting. In Black have not much of a choice here. If they decide to push now with an Uber, it's just game over to begin with, most likely. So they decide to put the off-classes on the board. And switching from Pyro to Sniper.
So we have to see some sort of drive push to try and make this happen. They actually got a heavy up on this right side right now, but Ora Elektro just holding their ground, not giving any room for the bin Black to try and take any space. Just generally driving down this clock really well, and with the super advantage as well, it's going to be difficult for any sort of advantage coming from the side of the bin back. We've got a soldier fight here underneath with Zunis on the Gink, but he's going to venture back off. 90 seconds left in this, under this final map of this series actually, and we're going to see the bin back probably commit into it underneath push. They're going to try and drive push this in. Groove is going to take the majority of this, trying to get onto a Zunis. That's going to force an Uber out on the side of the bin back, trying to get on the second point.
Oh, double drops! Gink hits the rocket around the corner!
Oh dear.
This could change everything. Everybody commits just kind of to a back cab at this point that was mostly designed to be a push into last in the first place, because they get all cleaned up. It's only as soon as SCRUFF left, SCRUFF taken down in main, as soon as jumps in, he needs something big, but he doesn't get an opportunity. DEGU with the nice prediction arrow into the doorway takes him out early, and 90 seconds was the time it needed to tie the game back up last time. Let's see if it can happen again.
It's a final countdown for this game, for regular time at least. I mean, Ora Elektro still might be able to hold this off. They've got to be careful not to get too aggressive here and just like feed more. Otherwise, they're going to try and they might even cost themselves the map. We've got some sticky traps set up here.
Oh, the sniper from board!
On Evo for DEGU, that's going to be crucial. That is map surely for Ora Elektro right now.
They just need to keep themselves alive here and finish off what they find quickly. Gink, Lucas, Hems all taken down. Yillen all alone on mid. Now a nice little headshot by Yillen just to put salt into the wound. And that little taunt away soon just stumped it up pretty nicely.
Yeah, 15 seconds left, no chance for the bin back to take this back. It's going to be the full 6 points here for Ora Elektro.
Yeah, they're just pushing up a little bit, but 1 second probably won't be there on last. Trying to make have 2 seconds left. Under point, not able to get it. 2 to 3, both maps went down to the wire. And the difference of playstyle was really interesting to see. Just really aggressive to really passive. And Ora Elektro, as long as they could play passive, it went their way perfectly fine. But every time Bin Black had momentum in the sales, be it from a mid-win, be it from finally a successful push out from a point, they made so much use of that they got these rounds they needed to make it a close game, despite more control on Ora Elektro.
Indeed. I'm going to be trying to look for some logs right now. I want to see these stats.
Let's get some numbers on the screen while we're waiting for that. I need to open them myself, because I am a well-prepared person here. There we go.
And Ninja's doing that, because I've already had them up. Anyway, immediately I'm seeing SCRUFF with 30 frags on the offset, so definitely delivering for his team in the cleanup department. And generally quite a shift between the scouts and soldiers for the side of the Ora Elektro. Soldiers not really having much of a showing, but the scouts getting a majority of the frags for the team.
Which is surprising, because it wasn't as super fast. I mean, it wasn't quite as slow as the last one. It was still rated medium fast at best, so there was a little bit of everything, but there was still slow moments, and the scout still performing it as well has a huge impact on this overall. And the group performed really well. Hems kind of couldn't show up that much, unfortunately, and it made the difference where both scouts and Ora Elektro just had a big performance, both having good kills, having good damage again. Eames leading the charge here. Groove getting quite a bit as well. So he had field data. Lucas also quite high up there. Lucas demos again with exactly demos Eames even had again 268 DPM exactly as last time. That must be some sort of secret there to get 268 every time. And yeah, it just really made that big of a difference sometimes if just one scout can't live up to the task.
Yeah, especially in a map this open, the area denial is really important to try and deny any sort of space for the scouts to try and take. I guess Ora Elektro are doing a pretty decent job with that.
Yeah, aggression, however, this map got definitely more rewarded than last time. They got so much more of this and made it again a close game despite Ora Elektro playing slow, patient, and trying to just squeeze out the win by getting advantages one by one instead of all at the same time, like in Black is trying to accomplish it. And yeah, really close game at the back of this. The mids went majoritively their way. Let's looking at this, I mentioned how it went like as later on the map, the mids were better for them, but it's already started with a good bid for them. Although a few of them were a little bit weird in terms of who stayed alive at what point and just like late sack waves and stuff like that. But overall, these mid wins helped them a lot, just trying to establish how this game went, and it gave them the ability to get these quick rounds, just this 2-minute round, a 3-minute round as well, on top of that.
Yeah, it's definitely more fast-paced than the last game, has to be said. But like, I think Ora Elektro were playing generally potluck with the soldiers, to trying to like rely on them a lot to try and deliver, because nearly every mid they were doing big bombs from up top, getting huge air, and then trying to get onto the demo man or the medic, whatever was available.
Yeah, what I didn't like about it sometimes it was just Azunis alone, and while he did have some good showings there as well, all on his own, it just lacks like the follow up. Just you get one good rocket and then the medic just jumps surfs away from you. That's kind of what happened on the very first mid, and just lack the follow up there sometimes. Where Yilin specifically with his team just going aggressive after him most of the time, just getting stuff done. Demos died really quickly off the back of those a lot, and yeah, it just shows. And once again, just looking at these heal stats as well. Real quickly, just having a quick glance on those. Once again, I see deals deaths within 20 seconds after Uber. They want to play fast. They really want to, but the opportunity just wasn't good enough a few times here, and it shows once again two deaths within 20 seconds after Uber, none on demos. Just nicely sums up the like slight difference here in playstyle in just one little number. All right, and with that. I don't see anybody arriving for interviews after this really close series. Would have been interesting to hear some opinions. Obviously, you would expect not too much happiness coming out of Binlaki, especially not about how the endings of both maps were. But
yeah, very close, literally down to the wire. Both.
Yeah, and I mentioned that this will be important, while it might not seem like tremendously so. We just saw how close these teams are and how. Basically, they could be able to take maps from each other, and Ora Elektro getting all 6 points off of a map this close is gonna be important moving forward.
Definitely so.
And with that, we are out of stuff to talk about since the game is over and nobody wants to talk to us. So yeah, this has been officially everything of ETF2L Week 3, and yeah, this has been a game. I hope the other ones were as well, since those were on the bigger channels, TV 1 and 2. So let's hope those were good games. And with that, just once again, big shouts to the sponsors of ETF2L Season 30, SDN Trading and SCRUFF.tv. And you can find all the links regarding TFTV down below, both in the Twitch description and on YouTube as well. And we'll see you next week for some more Cardinal and product.